Hello, Lilac class. Now, today our learning objective is to add and subtract decimals. And our key vocabulary is decimal point, place value, ones, tenths, hundreds, thousands, placeholder, and lining up. Now, believe it or not, lining up is our essential words for the work you're going to be doing, because it's really important that when you're adding and subtracting decimals, that you line up your decimal points, and that way you won't make any mistakes. Now, adding and subtracting decimals, as far as actually writing the calculations, is not something you're going to find difficult, because you did a lot of adding and subtracting calculations in the autumn term, but you didn't use decimals. So for example here, I've got 0.41 plus 0.3. When you write out your calculation, I am sorry about my digits, I am persevering, but it's so difficult to write them on this whiteboard, but I think you can see what they are. So here, 1 plus 0 is 1, 3 plus 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, and then 0, 0 is 0. Now, when I do my calculations and write them out, before I even start them, I make sure that every digit is written neatly in squares, and I make sure that my decimal points, see, they're lining up, and then I put my decimal point down here as well. I always put my decimal point down before I even do my calculation. I've done it here as well. Now, these decimal points here don't line up, all right, because they're not the same decimal place. Here we've got one decimal point, decimal place with the 3, and then here we've got 2. So when we add them up, we need to use our place value holder, or a placeholder here. I've put my 0 there, and then your calculation is nice and neat. Got my decimal point written down already. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 3, I'm going to try and write an 8. That's not bad. And 1 plus 3 is 4. Really important that you put in that placeholder, because then your calculation is nice and neat. You've got the same amount of digits lined up. You've got 2, 2, and 2 there. If you didn't have that placeholder, you would just have 1.3, and it would make your calculation look a bit imbalanced. All right, so put that there, and it will make it a lot easier for you. Now, what I'm going to do is show you a PowerPoint about adding decimals, looking at pictorial representations, because I've given you some classroom secrets worksheets to do, which have got a lot of pictorial representations in them, and I've also given you lots of decimal sheets and some reasoning sheets if you really feel that you've grasped everything. So I'm going to show you the PowerPoint now. Now what you've got here is all these different items, and you've got to find 2, 3, or 4 of them that when you add them up make £5. So have a little look at those. Remember, you can stop the PowerPoint whenever you want, or the learning video whenever you want. I'm going to show you the answers. £2.65 and £2.35 make £5. £2.35, £1.62, £1.03 makes £5. And here we've got 4 items. £1.03, 98 pence, £1.64, and £1.35. Remember, 98 pence, if you're writing it as pounds, is 0.98. And money is about decimals. So that's why we have decimal points when we're doing work about money. And can you see from these calculations how those decimal points are all lined up beautifully? And then they all line up at the bottom when you're calculating your answer. Now here we have an example of a pictorial representation. Got a number line. Write the missing decimals on the number line. What is the corresponding calculation? So first of all, you need to work out what needs to go in each of these boxes. Now for here, you've actually got a clue. You've got 3.77, 3.78, 3.79, 3.8. Then we start from the beginning again. So it'll be 3.81. See if you can work out the others. There's your answer, 3.81, and then 82, 83, right up to 3.89. And then your next one is when your 10th becomes a 9, 3.9. So this calculation, where that big blue arch is, shows us what 3.79 plus 0.1 makes. It makes 3.89. So 0.1 is 1/10. So we've got 7 has changed to an 8. So what's been added is 0.1. Look at the place value chart below. What number is represented? So you need to work out what's represented. And then you need to add 7/10. Now add 4/100 more. And use your calculations to add 0.74 to the number in the place value chart. So you've got 1, 2, 3 calculations to do once you've worked out what number has been represented. So you'll probably need to stop the learning video to work out that calculation. I'm going to show you the answer. What number is represented? 5.49. 5, 4, and 9. Add 7/10. So you look at your 10th column, which is there. Now if you add 7 to that, if you add 7 to 4, it makes 11. Now 11 is going to be 1/10, and you can put it into your ones column, and you can make that 5 into a 6. Now add 4/100 more. So there's your 100ths column. Now if you add 4 to 9, you get 13. So you're putting down your 3, you're carrying your 1 over here, and that 1 then becomes a 2. Use your calculations to add 0.74 to the number in the place value chart. 5.49 plus 0.74 equals. So add your calculations to add 0.74 to the number in the place value chart. So you're adding the calculation there and 0.74. And then you get this answer here, as well as here. Find the missing number to complete the bar. Now all you've got to do is add these two, and that will be your answer. Add these two, that will be your answer. Add these two, and that will be your answer. Remembering to line up your decimal points. Now, when you do that, you will get these for your answer. (9.7) is the same as 9.70. If I was doing that calculation, I would have liked to have put a 0 down there. I would have liked to put my placeholder. It doesn't mean it's incorrect. It would have just made my calculation easier to do, because 9 plus 1 is 10. So I put down my 0 and I carry my 1 to my next column. But 9.7 is correct. But if you had 9.70, that is fine. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. I've shown you some of the pictorial representations that you're going to come across in your classroom secrets worksheets. And then you've got a lot of practice at subtraction and addition calculations using decimals. And you've also got an ultimate challenge to do, and lots of reasoning and problem solving if you feel very confident. Thank you.